Paddling those heavy canoes into open waters requires stamina beyond imagination, long before modern gymnasium and fitness routines. Yes, these days people go to gyms and then they become macho men. But in those days, you don't need a gym. If you want to become macho, you go into the sea and you paddle the canoe. That's what Okotse Botwe, that's what Boy Botwe was doing. That is my late father.
So they are trying again. Back to where I'm standing at the moment. So this is where I am at the moment. This is where I'm standing. I'm at the shore. So you can see the distance there. Very far. I'm zooming back on them. It seems one of the men is out of the boat. When they try and get far, then the water brings them back. Then I think they keep losing their courage, or they keep getting tired. They are very courageous, but they keep getting tired. One of them mine is out of the boat. But if he's out, his partner can't alone paddle the boat far. So he has to find a way to enter the boat. People are still behind me, giving them a little bit of support. Now where they are, nobody will not hear what we are saying. People are saying here. They are so far. But the man with the boat has actually gone far. One of the men with the boat has actually gone far. The other one is behind. Oh, the other one will seem to go this partner. People are saying, oh yeah. They should keep going, they should keep going. They are so far, I can't even zoom to where they are. One with the boat has gone far, the other one without the boat is being left behind. I'll try and find them on the viewfinder so you can see them. The waves are very high, they are behind the waves. So they are so far, I can't zoom anymore. They've gone so far.
Every stroke of the paddle builds muscle. Every return against the tide builds resistance. Hello? Every stroke of the paddle, it builds their muscles. And every return against this tide builds their resistance. Until you are able to pass through the waves, you will not have that kind of resistance, that kind of stamina. That is the character of the old-time fisherman. And that is the character of my father, his father, that is my grandmother, and his senior brothers, and his siblings. This is Okoche Botwe. When he was a fisherman, he became bold, resilient. He has stamina, not because of businesses that were going on at that time, but he became resilient, bold, with stamina because of this fishing business. They rose before dawn, and most fishermen have few words, and my father had few words. When he was a fisherman, and he was a young boy, he had seven other siblings who were older than him. Do you understand? So he gained stamina, resilience, and he was a person of strong presence with few words. When he was a fisherman, they arose before dawn. Sometimes they wake up around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Do you understand? 2:30 a.m. When you are asleep and you are snoring, this fisherman, this my father and his family, they wake up at dawn to go to fish. And how are they able to navigate the weather? They read the skies, they respect the winds, and they understand the mood of the sea. They did not argue with nature. They studied it and enjoyed it and mastered it over time. These days they use the GPS. During that period, they watch the skies. They watch the sea, the movement of the waves. They look at the weather. They don't go against what the wind say. They understand the mood of the sea. They don't argue with nature. They study this, enjoy it, and as time goes on, through the years, Botwe and his family, Botwe and his father and senior brothers, they were able to master the wind, the waves over time. That is Okoche Botwe. That is my father. A fisherman was known by his bravery, his fearlessness, his discipline, and his patience. Hello? Okoche Botwe, my father, was known by his bravery, his patience, his discipline, and his fearlessness. The sea made him bold. It made him fearless. It made him have stamina. It gives him that patience. That is my father, Okoche Botwe, as a fisherman. His traits were not taught in the classroom. My father was not a student of any school. His traits, he learned how to live in the world through the sea. That was his classroom. Not in the normal cycle. Not in the normal JSS, in the high schools. His classroom was on the seashore. His classroom was on the sand. His classroom, how to fight a soul, where they fight on the seashore, and sand can be put into your eyes. That is where Okoche Botwe, my father, became the man he's supposed to be. Became the man he's supposed to be. That is my father. That is, I'm saying his traits were not taught in the classroom. They were learned under the scorching sun and the violent waves. Fishing, it made young Botwe, my father, into a man prepared for leadership. They fought against the waves, the sun heat, the sand, the seashore, the waves. So what he went through, the shipping, the fishing, ship, my father, and prepared him for tomorrow's leader. As a young boy, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, he went to fishing with his father. And if you know how to swim, if you have fallen into the sea before, the sea is full of salt. And when they wake up early in the morning, you should know that, ask yourself what is in the sea. You are sitting in a small canoe, and then there are sharks in the sea. Hello? I'm saying there are sharks in the sea. So that builds his stamina. That builds his enablement. That builds his patience. That builds, made him determined to overcome. Just look at a fisherman. I'm not talking about the fishermen in the trawlers or on the ships. Look at a fisherman on a cable. That was my father. And that is what trained him. That is what trained him. And that is what made him who he became.